When you think of Mary Cassatt, you might picture sentimental scenes of mothers and children, but that image barely scratches the surface of Cassatt's radical vision. Cassatt broke the mold, painting women's lives with a boldness and depth her contemporaries often ignored. In a world that undervalued female artists, Cassatt had to fight to be seen as a professional, someone worthy of respect in an art world dominated by men. She's quoted saying, "I am an independent. I can live alone and I love to work." So who really was Mary Cassatt? Why did a recipient of the Legion of Honor almost give up painting entirely? And did Edgar Degas actually leave his mark on one of her most famous paintings? Welcome to Art Vault. Mary Stevenson Cassatt was born in Allegheny City, Pennsylvania, on May 22, 1844, to a well-off family. Her father, a successful stockbroker, and her mother, the daughter of a banker. But while her parents envisioned a traditional path, Cassatt defied all convention and was determined to be an artist. At just 15, Mary Cassatt boldly signed up for the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, despite the rule that students had to be 16 to attend. This early move showed Cassatt's unmistakable eagerness and grit. See, in Cassatt's time, many young ladies learned to paint as a polite accomplishment, something to round out their social standing. But Cassatt had no interest in staying in the background. She was set on becoming a well-known, recognized, professional artist. But in a male-dominated art world, would Cassatt ever get a chance to succeed? She became impatient with the Academy's patronizing attitude towards female students, and in 1866, she moved to Paris to study under Jean-Léon Gérôme, forging her own path and finding her own mentor, since women couldn't yet attend the prestigious École des Beaux-Arts. But Cassatt's dream ended before it really began. In 1870, the Franco-Prussian War forced her to return to America. Frustrated and heartbroken, Cassatt abandoned her brushes, writing, "I have given up my studio and torn up my father's portrait and have not touched a brush for 6 weeks, nor ever will again until I see some prospect of getting back to Europe." As if by fate, the Archbishop of Pittsburgh commissioned her to paint 2 copies of works by Correggio in Parma, Italy. With her passion reignited, Cassatt returned to Europe. Paris became her home, and Edgar Degas extended a life-changing invitation to Cassatt to join a group of independent artists known as the Impressionists. "I hated conventional art. I began to live." Degas and Cassatt soon became close friends, often working side by side. He encouraged her to embrace the beauty of form and disregard unnecessary details. He even advised her to keep a sketchbook to capture the observations of the world around her. Among these suggestions, he urged her to paint portraits, including Little Girl in a Blue Armchair. Not only did Degas inspire her vision for this painting, but he also painted part of the background himself. Within the Impressionist movement, Cassatt shifted her focus to women and female subjects. While Cézanne and Monet were painting landscapes and iconic bridges, Cassatt made an equally powerful statement that the everyday lives of women and children deserved a place in great art. She challenged the norms while remaining true to her reality. She painted what was accessible to her, mindful of her privileged upbringing, which made certain subjects, like bar scenes, off-limits. Yet she possessed a unique perspective on what it meant to be a woman in the opulent world of Paris. Cassatt turned to the theme of caretaking as a major focus in her work. She quickly recognized this was a fresh subject, ripe for exploration. While the Western tradition was filled with images of the Madonna and Child, it lacked representation of everyday acts of care and nurturing. In Cassatt's The Child's Bath, we see a woman cradling a child who seems on the brink of falling asleep or bursting into tears. Cassatt's keen attention to the woman's hand stands out. Depicted with such detail, this reddened hand tells a story of hard work and devotion, shedding a new light on the act of bathing a child. In this painting, Cassatt combines influences from Japanese art with the traditional subject matter of the Madonna and Child. transforming the image into something secular rather than religious. The variety of patterns in this composition, including floral designs and bold stripes in the woman's dress, are harmonized by a restrained palette of grays and mauves, allowing the viewer to focus on the intimate relationship between the mother and child. But how did her innovative style redefine traditional subjects? In 1889, a groundbreaking exhibition of Japanese woodblock prints at l'École des Beaux-Arts in Paris captivated Cassatt. From her letters, we know she attended this exhibition repeatedly, expressing her fascination with the colors, techniques, and patterns. "I'm dreaming of color on copper," Cassatt wrote to her friend and fellow Impressionist, Berthe Morisot. Cassatt's foray into Japanese woodblock-inspired printmaking gave way to techniques that weren't truly valued or acknowledged in her time. The Japanese woodblock prints offered Cassatt invaluable lessons in composition and the use of black, a color that the Impressionists typically dismissed. Inspired, she exhibited her own series of 10 prints at the Durand-Ruel Gallery in Paris the following year, including the bath, the lamp, in the omnibus, the letter, the fitting, woman bathing, mother's kiss, maternal caress, afternoon tea, and the banjo lesson. Cassatt herself never married or had children, yet by the mid-1800s she became renowned for her sensitive depictions of mothers and children, which begs us to ask, was Cassatt's work both popular and a catalyst for change? These works, like all her portrayals of women, may have achieved popular success because they filled a societal need to idealize women's domestic roles at the time, but many women were, in fact, beginning to take an interest in voting rights, dress reform, higher education, and social equality. In one of her last exhibitions in 1915, Cassatt organized a benefit to support the cause of women's suffrage. It also included a number of works by Degas, who did not believe in women's suffrage. In 1911, Cassatt traveled to Egypt with her younger brother Gardner, but the trip ended tragically with his sudden death. Shattered by his loss, she also experienced a profound creative crisis, resulting in a nearly 2-year hiatus from painting. Mary Cassatt spent her final years in almost total blindness, deeply unhappy at being robbed of her greatest passion. She died on June 14, 1926. A fiercely private individual, she burned all her letters, believing that what one would like to leave behind is superior art and a hidden personality. In 1973, Cassatt was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame in New York, finally receiving the recognition she had long sought. It should also be mentioned that while Cassatt was alive, she was awarded the Legion of Honor by the French government for her lifetime of artistic achievements. Cassatt was only the second woman to ever receive the honor. Though her vibrant depictions of women and children were dismissed as sentimental, you can see she was in fact a modernist pioneer. Cassatt stands as a beacon of resilience and innovation, earning her rightful place not as a great female artist, but a great artist.